Week 18, season ending, final NFL Power Rankings. Let's go. Number 32, Carolina Panthers. Listen, if Sam Darnold returns next year as the starter for the Panthers, Panther fans should be just fucking livid. If Cam Newton receives so much as a fucking phone call, the Panthers GM should be fucking committed. Now, the Panthers may not have had the worst record in football, but I don't think that there was a worse team in the entire NFL. I think if they played the Jaguars 10 times, the Jaguars are winning 9 times. I've been hearing a lot of trade rumors about Christian McCaffrey, and if he leaves Carolina, we may be looking at a stretch run for this organization of them being really fucking terrible. After starting 3-0, the Panthers lose 12 out of their last 14 games to finish 5-12. Number 31, Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence finally has a decent game. I have been riding this guy all season long, claiming that he has not progressed a single bit, that he is an absolute bust, and he finally has himself a decent game. Now, looking at this game before it started, you laid out a couple factors. Trevor Lawrence is a turnover machine. The Colts lead the NFL in turnover ratios. Jaguars win the turnover battle 2-0. The Jaguars are 30th in the NFL in sacks. Sacks. The Colts' strength is their offensive line. 6 sacks for the Jaguars. How? With the Colts needing a win to clinch a playoff spot, there weren't many people outside of Jacksonville, people in Jacksonville too, that thought that the Jaguars had a chance at spoiling this scenario. The Jaguars didn't just win. They dominated the fucking Colts. They made the Colts their bitch. The Jaguars finished the season with 3-14 record, worst record in the league, and are currently on the clock for the number 1 overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Number 30, New Jersey Giants. The Giants are fucking bad. How bad? They are a QB sneak up the middle on 3rd and 9 type of bad. What the fuck? Look, I understand the Giants had absolutely nothing to play for against Washington this weekend, but to give up and not put forth an effort for the paying fans that attended your game in your fucking stadium in the state of New Jersey is just wrong. It's also wrong that you play in New Jersey and call yourself New York. After bringing in plenty of offensive help this offseason and getting Saquon Barkley back into the lineup, the Giants shouldn't have been this bad. I wanted this team to win. I really did. Instead, they look like a team who's 2 years away from looking like they're 2 years away. 2 years, Yeah. Giants finish the season with an amazing 4-13 record and have a lot of work to do. Number 29, New Jersey Jets. So the Jets concluded their dismal season up in Buffalo, where their offense got smacked in the fucking mouth. The Jets crossed the 50-yard line for the first time with like 5 minutes left to go before halftime. Zach Wilson not only missed his targets time and time again, but he was sacked 9 times. 9. That's one less than 10. Now, he did have a 40-yard touchdown pass in the second quarter, and the Jets, despite being dominated statistically, were only down 13-7 at halftime. Another positive takeaway from this game is the Jets' defense actually played pretty well. Up until the fourth quarter, the Bills only had 13 points, and Josh Allen just did not look right. That's not easy to do, so credit goes out to the Jets' defense. Jets finished the season with a 4-13 record, and really should look to make some decisions regarding their franchise quarterback, who looks like a fucking alien, by the way. Number 28, Chicago Bears. God, I hate this fucking team. The Bears played their final game of the season in Minnesota and lost. Their head coach was fired the following morning, as expected. They finished the season with a 6-11 record. Can I move on now? Does anyone give a shit? No? No, we're good? We're good? Moving on. Number 27, Detroit Lions. You get a trick play in. You get a trick play in. You get a trick play. Boy, the Lions threw some crazy shit at the Packers this weekend, and they earned themselves a nice little victory. Once again, just like all season long, the Lions played their asses off. I'm sorry, but this is the best 13-loss team I have ever watched. The crazy thing is, winning this game against the Packers hurt the Lions because the Jaguars lost. Had the Lions lost this game, they would have had a worse record and would be on the clock right now with the first overall pick in the draft. Look, the Lions have some really nice takeaways from this season. DeAndre Swift is going to be a good running back. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I can't say enough about this dude. He's a beast, especially if he gets a quarterback to throw him the ball. The Lions finished the season with a 3-13-1 record, but truly do have a lot to be proud of. Number 26, Houston Texans. Davis Mills is a beast. I said what I said. In my opinion, he's the best rookie quarterback out this season. He'll never win Offensive Rookie of the Year simply because the Texans only had 4 wins. But he outplayed Trevor Lawrence. He outplayed Zach Wilson. And yes, he outplayed Mac Jones. He should be the starter in Houston next year. In the Texans season finale, Mills and the Texans gave the Titans one fuck of a scare. They stormed back in the second quarter and made the game interesting. Ultimately, they fell short in a game that meant nothing to them. And they finished the season with a record of 4-13. But I'm being serious, Davis Mills should be the starter next year. Number 25. Cleveland Browns. With the Browns eliminated from the playoffs and the Bengals choosing not to play for playoff seeding, this turned into a very pointless game. Bengals sat Joe Burrow and the Browns sat Baker Mayfield. And with Case Keenum under center for the Browns stormed out to a 14-0 lead. Shocker. It's no surprise that the Browns ultimately won the game and finished the season with an 8-9 record, missing the playoffs. Yeah. In a season where a lot of people predicted them to be Super Bowl contenders. Oops. There's a lot of questions to be answered in Cleveland in these next couple of weeks and months. Number 24, Atlanta Falcons. So the Falcons tried to play spoiler this weekend when they hosted the Saints. Their offense cut loose, played freely, and Russell Gage had him one hell of a game. But at the end of the day, the Falcons come up short in the season finale, finish the season with a 7-10 record, and if I'm being honest, that's about 3 or 4 more wins than I would have thought they would have had. Number 23, Washington. In possibly the final game in which this franchise does not have a nickname, the football team beat up on the awful New Jersey Giants. Hey, at least they ended the season on a high note. Because there was nothing in this game that mattered playoff-wise, I guess it's worth mentioning some of the milestones that they had. Antonio Gibson rushes for 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. Terry McLaurin gets 1,000 yards receiving for the second year in a row, and that's the first time that's happened in Washington since 1996. Think about how long ago that was. That was the year after I graduated high school. Yeah, so Washington finished the season at 7-10 and missed the playoffs. Number 22, Seattle Seahawks. Playing the spoiler role. The Seahawks rolled into Arizona to play the Cardinals, who were looking to clinch the NFC West with a win and a Rams loss. After the Seahawks beat the Cardinals, they had to be proud of themselves. The Seahawks offense has actually looked good the last couple of weeks. You gotta ask, where was it all year? Rashad Penny rushed for over 100 yards in 4 out of the last 5 games. And in the season finale against Arizona, the dude rushed for 190 yards. And that should put an exclamation point on the fact that that motherfucker should be the starter next year. The Seahawks end the season winning 4 of their last 6 games, bringing their final record to 7-10. Number 21, Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins wanted nothing more than to spoil the chances of the Patriots winning the AFC East. At least that's what I heard from Dolphin fans that I'm friends with. It was unlikely that the Bills were going to lose to the Jets, but beating the Patriots was the one thing that the Dolphins could control. And that's what they did, man. They beat the Patriots via the run game and a strong defense, including a pick 6 to put them up big early. The Dolphins sweep the Patriots with bookends, Week 1 and Week 18 wins. They may not have made the playoffs with a 9-8 record, but sweeping the Patriots on the season was probably a nice consolation prize. Number 20. Minnesota Vikings. In a meaningless game, the Vikings hosted the Bears in the season finale in what was the battle of soon-to-be-fired head coaches. Side note, they were both fired Monday morning. The game was a lot closer than the score suggested, but it meant nothing, so why am I talking about it? Big changes are coming to Minnesota after they finished the year at 8-9. Number 19, Baltimore Ravens. So the Ravens had a chance at making the playoffs by beating Pittsburgh and getting some help. They got the help they needed. Unfortunately, they just couldn't hold the lead against the Steelers. With an unfair amount of injuries that hit this team all season long, it's amazing that they got this far. The season finale against the Steelers was like the perfect microcosm of the Ravens season as a whole. Get themselves an early lead and then relinquish it, in part due to some backup players. The Ravens finished the season with an 8-9 record and missed the playoffs. Number 18, Denver Broncos. Broncos hosted the Chiefs on Saturday afternoon and played the division champs tough. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to play spoiler. A Melvin Gordon fumble, recovered and returned for a touchdown by the Chiefs, was the game clincher as the Broncos finished the season with a 7-10 record and missed the playoffs. Number 17, Indianapolis Colts. What the fuck happened? Last week, the Colts missed an opportunity to clinch a playoff spot by losing to the Raiders. And truth be told, it wasn't that detrimental, because everyone knew they finished their season in Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. The spread on this game was 16.5 points for a road team. There's no way in hell that one of the best teams in football is going to miss out on the playoffs by losing to the Jaguars. No. That's what happened. Like, I still can't wrap my head around it. You know what, though? I blame Carson Wentz. When something goes wrong, you just blame Carson Wentz. It probably wasn't even his fault, but I'm still going to blame Carson Wentz. The Colts finished the season with a 9-8 record and, missed the playoffs. Number 16, Los Angeles Chargers. Brandon Staley. I don't know about this guy. This dude was either criticized or praised, depending on perspective, all season long for going for it on fourth down. He likes to take his chances. He likes taking risks. And truth be told, I like that shit. But I'm not entirely sure what he was thinking in overtime on Sunday Night Football against the Raiders when he's calling timeouts. Look, with the trip to the playoffs at stake in this game, in overtime, it seemed like the Raiders were just trying to run the clock out. Because if the game tied, they both make the playoffs and send the Steelers home. But Brandon Staley wasn't trying to have that shit, and he was calling timeouts. And ultimately, because of these timeouts, the Chargers' run defense failed them just like they have all season long. Josh Jacobs breaks a big-ass run, puts him in field goal range, and the Raiders kick a game-winning field goal to send them to playoffs and send the Chargers home. So the Chargers finished the season with a 9-8 record and missed the playoffs. Number 15, New Orleans Saints. Needing a win and a 49ers loss to sneak into the playoffs, the Saints did their part. They beat the Falcons in Atlanta. Unfortunately, they did not receive the help from the Rams by beating the 49ers. Despite all the injuries New Orleans suffered, starting 4 different quarterbacks throughout the course of the season, they still finished the season with a winning record of 9-8. And they narrowly missed the playoffs. They almost made the playoffs. The question now turns to who's going to be their quarterback next year. All right, time to get into the playoff teams. Let's go. Got to put my hat on for the playoff teams. Number 14, Philadelphia Eagles. Instead of getting in a final game to prepare for the playoffs, the Eagles chose to sit and rest most of their starters, including quarterback Jalen Hurts. The outcome of this game was to be expected, especially considering that Dallas did not rest their starters, and that the Eagles' defense that's been strong most of the season gave up 51 points. The Eagles finished the season with a 9-8 record, the number 7 seed, and traveled to Tampa Bay to probably get destroyed by Tom Brady and company on Sunday afternoon. Good luck. Number 13, Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, so the Steelers play their season finale in Baltimore, needing a win and some help to get into the playoffs. With the improbable win by the Jaguars over the Colts, it opened the door for the Steelers. Who would have thunk it? Despite getting another poor offensive performance from the Steelers, somehow, some way, Big Ben rallies again, gets the game to overtime, where kicker Chris Boswell kicks a game-winning field goal, extending Big Ben's time in Pittsburgh. Look, the Steelers' defense is clearly the strength of this team. But if the Steelers want to do anything in the playoffs, their offense is going to need to do at least something. Oh yeah, TJ Watt, he tied the single-season sack record. Yeah, sack. I know, I'm a child. Number 12, Las Vegas Raiders. Sunday Night Football. Raiders-Chargers. Win and in. Doesn't get much better than this. With the Colts losing earlier in the day and the Steelers winning earlier in the day, an exciting game like this becomes all the more interesting. And let me tell you, Derek Carr just may be the most underrated player in all of the NFL. He is very often criticized, yet continues to prove doubters wrong. No instance more important than this previous game where the Raiders beat the Chargers in overtime to go to the playoffs. Now, there's some people out there that think that the Raiders were playing for a tie in overtime, which would have moved both teams into the playoffs and kicked the Steelers out. But after a timeout by the other team, Josh Jacobs sets them up for a field goal to win the game in overtime, sending the Raiders to the playoffs, sending their fans to ecstasy. The Raiders finish the season with a 10-7 record, the number 5 seed in the AFC, and are heading to Cincinnati to play the Bengals on Saturday afternoon in what will be Derek Carr's first ever playoff game. Number 11, Arizona Cardinals. So I suppose it's a good thing that the Cardinals shit the bed. With a chance to win the division, all they had to do was win against the Seahawks because the Rams lost. But they didn't win. And as I said, it's probably a good thing Because the Cardinals don't know how to win games at home. So being a wild card instead of a division winner will give them more away games, which is what they like. It's so fucking weird. So against the Seahawks, the Cardinals were unable to stop the run, unable to get pressure on the quarterback, and gave up 38 points to a team who offensively struggled most of the year. The Cardinals finished the season with an 11-6 record, limp into the playoffs as a 5 seed, and are heading to Los Angeles for a Monday night matchup with the Rams. Have fun with that, bro. Number 10, San Francisco 49ers. Despite all the injuries that the 49ers have had, despite all the inconsistent play, the Niners traveled to Los Angeles to play the Rams with a chance to make the playoffs. And the Rams needed to win this game too. They weren't just rolling over. They needed to win to clinch the NFC West. So this set up a very good game, a very interesting matchup. And in the beginning, it didn't look so good for the Niners. Rams came out and took a 17-0 lead on their asses. And usually in these situations, when you're down by so much, teams will abandon the run and just be pass happy. Thankfully for Niner fans, they didn't abandon the run. They didn't put the game in Jimmy G's hands. They pounded away with Eli Mitchell and even Deebo Samuel. And they sure as shit came back and beat the Rams in overtime. Clinched them a playoff spot, sure did. The Niners finished the season with a 10-7 record, the number 6 seed in the NFC, and are making their ways down to Dallas, where they face the Cowboys in an epic 1990s style game. Number 9, New England Patriots. Patriots wanted to go ahead and steal that AFC East title. They sure did. They needed to head down to Miami and beat the Dolphins, and they needed the Jets to beat the Bills. Yeah. Instead, the Patriots went down to Miami and watched Mac Jones turn the ball over 2 times, including a pick 6. That's the second week in a row that the Patriots and their rookie quarterback didn't look so good. That Offensive Rookie of the Year sure has been looking like a rookie lately. That's not good news with the playoffs coming up. Patriots end their season with a 10-7 record, get the 6th seed in the AFC, and head up to Buffalo this weekend to take on the Bills in a primetime Saturday night affair. It's gonna be chilly. Number 8, Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals decided that resting Joe Burrow before the playoffs was more important than playoff seeding. The Bengals went into Cleveland with their backup quarterback, Brandon Allen, I think, and lost to the Browns, lost a playoff spot, moved from the 3 seed to the 4 seed, ended the season with a 10-7 record, and will play host to the Las Vegas Raiders on Saturday afternoon. There's a lot of inexperience in this team, and that tends to show up when the playoffs arrive. We'll see. Number 7, Dallas Cowboys. Hang on. There we go. So in what was the final tune-up before the playoffs started, the Cowboys got a chance to light up a division opponent, even if it wasn't their starting squad. Dak Prescott played much more of this game than maybe fans liked, but his 5 touchdowns were impressive nonetheless. The Cowboys finished the season with a 12-5 record, the number 3 seed in the NFC, and will play host to the 49ers on Sunday afternoon. Ma'am. Number 6, Tennessee Titans. Oh boy! That was scary, huh, Titans fans? After taking a 21-0 lead, it looked like the Titans were on cruise control, heading towards that number 1 overall seed in the AFC. But Houston made this game interesting, storming back and outscoring the Titans 25-7 in the second half. Fortunately for the Titans, Tannehill saved the play of the game when he escaped a sack on 3rd down, which would have been the 4th 3-and-out in a row, and hit a receiver for a big game, setting up a touchdown to put the game out of reach. It wasn't easy, but the Titans get the win. With that, they secure the number 1 seed in the AFC. They finish the season at 12-5, have a first-round bye, and await the divisional round of the playoffs. Number 5, Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills hosted the Jets on Sunday, needing a win to clinch the AFC East for the 2nd consecutive year. Listen, I know that most NFL fans immediately think of Josh Allen when you think of the Buffalo Bills. Maybe you think of Stephon Diggs, but you need to know something. And I've been saying it all year in all my power ranking videos. Shh. Come here. It's that Bills defense. The Bills defense, despite not having a single Pro Bowler, for real, finished the season as the number 1 defense in the NFL. They gave up the least amount of points. They gave up the least amount of yards. And in this pass-happy age of the NFL, they gave up the least amount of passing yards. And how did they cap off this amazing season? Well, they allowed 10 points. They had 9 sacks, and they gave up 53 yards to the Jets on Sunday. 53 total yards. And it's not like the Jets were just playing dead. This game was 13-7 in the fourth quarter. 53 yards. No big deal. The Bills finished the season with an 11-6 record, the 3 seed in the AFC, and will be hosting the rival New England Patriots on Saturday night. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Hey. Number 4, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is great. Tom Brady refused to leave the game on Sunday until his homeboy Rob Gronkowski received the stats that he needed to get his contract bonuses. There are teams in this league that would do anything to win games, to make the playoffs, have a winning season. And this motherfucker's out here focused on contract incentives. You gotta love it. The Bucs went ahead and shit all over the terrible Panthers in a warm-up game before the playoffs begin. The Bucs end their season with a 13-4 record, the number 2 seed in the NFC, and will host the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday afternoon. Number 3, Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams hosted the 49ers on Sunday, and they had a chance to clinch the NFC West. And after jumping out to a 17-0 lead, it looked like it was a done deal. Matthew Stafford was looking unstoppable. Everything was falling into place. Then the Rams decided to stop defending the run, and the Rams blew a 17-point lead. It's the first time that's happened in the Sean McVay era. The Rams ultimately lost the game in overtime to the Niners. Luckily, the Cardinals suck ass, and they lost to the Seahawks. So the Rams back into a division title. Talk about a whew moment, huh? The Rams finished the season with a 12-5 record, the number 4 seed in the NFC, and will host the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. Number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs played in Denver this weekend. They had hopes that somehow the Texans could beat the Titans, and the Chiefs could win and take over that number 1 seed. Well, the Chiefs didn't get that assist. Tennessee wrapped up the 1 seed, despite the Chiefs doing their part and getting the win in Denver. But I'll tell you, they barely did their part. For the second week in a row, that Chiefs offense disappeared in the second half. This might be a little concerning heading into the playoffs. Last week against the Bengals, the defense fell apart as well as the offense. This week against Denver, the defense actually stepped up. It's the only reason why they won this game. What's even more concerning is injuries to Tyreek Hill, who hurt his heel in warm-ups. And Travis Kelce actually left the game with a little bit of an injury as well. This is some stuff we got to keep our eyes on. The Chiefs ended the season with a 12-5 record, the number 2 seed in the AFC, and will be hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night. Number 1, Green Bay Packers. Why was everyone freaking out that Aaron Rodgers was playing in a meaningless game? Yes, I understand. The Packers wrapped up the number 1 seed last week. This game meant absolutely nothing. But let me ask you this. Did you really want Aaron Rodgers off the field for 3 weeks in a row? Remember, they have a bye week next week. Also remember, the last time Aaron Rodgers wasn't on the field for that long, the Packers came out week 1 and got absolutely shit on by the Saints, only putting up 3 points. I think it was smart that they got Aaron Rodgers out there for at least a half of football. The Packers finished the season with a 13-4 record, the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, have a bye week this week, and await the division round to see who they play.